Inna alhamdulillah wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. We're continuing with the topic of the signs of the last hour. And yesterday we began speaking about the greater signs of the last hour. And as you guys should be able to witness and see today, we are already experiencing most of the greater signs. Okay, and let's review a couple of hadiths here. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that after the lesser signs or the tribulations that will begin, the earthquakes and all that which we're experiencing now, the loss of honesty, the loss of trust, people deviating away from true Islam, Muslims dividing and separating into different sets and groups. Okay, we're replacing Islamic laws with laws and rules of our own. We're taking the opinions of others over the rulings of Allah and the Prophet. After those things appear and happen, we will go through a great deal of suffering, which is what you see today: war, famine, drought. And just when you think that it can't get any worse, the first of the greater signs will be the arrival of the Mahdi. He is the first of the greater sign. Okay, and there will be no doubt about his existence. And he will rule. He will become the leader over the Muslims. And this is why we say, when you hear Muslims today talking about establishing an Islamic state, establishing a caliphate, these are ignorant Muslims who don't understand their religion. Because you and I will not have to establish anything. Allah is the one who will establish the Mahdi. And when the Mahdi comes, there will be no doubt about who he is. He will not need you or me to establish anything about him. Okay? And there will be no ruler over the Muslims until he comes. So that's why when you hear these Muslims on Facebook or in your mosques talking about an Islamic state and a Mahdi and all this nonsense, they're ignorant. They're ignorant, and I tell you, do what the Prophet said. What did the Prophet say do? When you come upon that type of ignorance, he says, stay away from them. Isolate yourself away from these people. Stay away from these people who are talking about establishing a caliphate. Run away, hide, stay away from them. They're dangerous. They're ignorant. Okay? They're ignorant. They're filled with hate and ignorance. So the Mahdi, he will be the next leader over the Muslims. There will be no leader over us until he comes. And he will rule. And when he rules, that's when we will experience the second of the greater signs of the last hour, which is the Antichrist. The Antichrist will come. He will spread more oppression, more corruption. And he will not be destroyed by anyone other than Jesus. So the first of the greater signs will be the arrival of the Mahdi. The second will be the Antichrist. The third will be the return of Jesus. And when Jesus comes, he will not come back as a prophet of Allah. He will come back as a leader of not only the Muslims, but of the world. So the caliphate will not be established until the arrival of the Mahdi. And the person who will replace him as the caliph will be Jesus. Jesus will come back as the caliph, replacing the Mahdi. Okay? And then after Jesus will come the next of the greater signs, the Gog and the Magog, who we spoke about briefly the other day. The Gog and the Magog, who are the descendants of Noah's oldest son, Yafrith. The Gog and the Magog, who will destroy all the Arabic countries. They will wage war against the Arabic nations of the countries of the world and destroy them all, leaving no country viable. Okay? And so now what I want to do is speak about these things, in the order that most of us agree as happening. And I'm going to start off with this. Right before the Mahdi comes, right before we finally have a Caliph, and by the way, he doesn't need no help from you or me. When he comes, we'll know. But right before he comes, he will not come until the Kaaba is destroyed. Okay? Well, he will come before the Kaaba is destroyed. Okay? I meant that. He will come before, before the Kaaba is destroyed. Because the destruction of the Kaaba is another one of the greater signs. In fact, the destruction of the Kaaba will come after Jesus. Also, guys, the rising of the sun from the west. That's one of the that is the last of the signs. Also, the beast. You guys have heard about the beast. That comes after Jesus too. Okay, but what I want to do now is speak about, I'm trying to skip over my PowerPoint, it's confusing me here. Okay, here it is. Let's speak in detail of the Mahdi, which is the first of the greater signs. I want to focus in on the Mahdi. My PowerPoint was kind of off there. It puts something else up on the screen that I didn't want to talk about yet. We'll talk about the beast and the Kaaba's destruction, all that stuff later. But I want to start off today with the first of the greater signs, which is the Mahdi. Now, let me speak to you about the Mahdi. There's so many people who speak about the Mahdi, so many hadiths about him. Most of the hadiths about the Mahdi are not authentic, because there's so many hadiths out there that are not authentic. The information or the knowledge I'm going to share with you today is all based on authentic hadiths. Okay? And he will come at the end of time. He will be one of the rightly guided leaders and imams. He will be the leader over all the Muslims in the world. Okay? He is not the Mahdi that the Shiites speak about. The Shiite, they have many stories about the Mahdi too, which are not true. They claim that he is living now and he will come from out of a tunnel and all of this. None of that stuff is true. Okay? Our teachings are based on what the Prophet said. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the Mahdi will appear at the end of time. He will appear before Jesus, the son of Mary. So here you can see, there's my evidence when I said which comes first, Jesus or the Mahdi does. Also in another authentic hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, even if there were only one day left for the world, Allah will send a man from amongst us to fill the world with justice, just as it had been filled with oppression. And he's speaking about the Mahdi. Okay? Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the Mahdi is one of us. He is from amongst the people of my home. And one night Allah will inspire him and prepare him to carry out his test. So this hadith here, which is authentic, it counteracts and shuts down those ignorant Muslims today who are running around talking about establishing a caliphate. The Prophet told us here, Allah will inspire the Mahdi and Allah will prepare him. So he needs no help from you. He needs no help from me. Just like the Prophet Muhammad was inspired by Allah and didn't need no help, so neither did Moses or any of the other prophets. The Mahdi is not a prophet, but he is inspired by Allah and doesn't need no help from you or me. So when you hear Muslims talk about how they're looking for the Mahdi, brother, keep looking. You're stupid. And as you look for the Mahdi, pray that death doesn't find you, because you don't want to die stupid, guys. You don't want to die in a state of ignorance of your religion, of something that has been clearly detailed to us by Allah through his messenger. So the Mahdi, when he does come, and guess what? He's not Iranian. He's not Iranian. He's not Mexican. He's not American. He's not Chinese. He's not Indian. The Prophet said he is from the Prophet's family. What does that mean? He's Arabic. He will be an Arabic man from the Prophet's family. So when you have these ignorant Muslims talking about the Mahdi is going to come from Iran, I'm sorry, Iranians are not Arabic people. They may look similar because of the interbreeding and all, but they're not Arabic people. Okay? He will be from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's family. Okay? Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, from among his descendants there will be a man named after him, named Muhammad. And he will resemble the Prophet in behavior, but not in looks. And he will fill the earth with justice. Okay? So the Mahdi will be an Arabic man from the family of the Prophet who will have beautiful manners and beautiful behavior like the Prophet. He won't look exactly like him. He'll have some of his features, but he won't look exactly like him, but he'll have a lot of his behavior and his mannerisms. And he will be a kind man who will bring about justice. What does that mean? That means he's not a terrorist. That means he's not going to be going around killing people and executing people and kidnapping and raping. Okay? Because you got people claiming to be the Mahdi today. How can you claim to be the Mahdi when you're a horrible person? You're a terrorist. You're a murderer. Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said our religion will remain steadfast or will remain true until 12 leaders rule over you. Okay? And what will happen after that? He said, after that, there will be many trials, many tribulations, and much killing. Okay, we already experienced the 12 caliphs. After the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam died, we went through the caliphates, 12 leaders over the Muslims. Right now, we don't have any. Okay? So here you can see this has already happened. We went through the 12 caliphs, the 12 leaders. After that, there'll be many trials and much murder, much killing. This is what we're going through now. Terrorism and all this nonsense. We don't have a leader. And guess what, guys? There's not going to be a leader over the Muslims until Allah sends the Mahdi. And Allah will send him when Allah chooses. Not when you choose. Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if there were only one day left in the world, that day would be lengthened until a man from among my descendants or from among the people of my home be sent. His name will be the same as mine, and his father's name will be the same as mine. He will fill the earth with justice and fairness, just as it has been filled with injustice and oppression. The world will not end until this man from my family, whose name is the same as mine, holds sway. So here you can see. Anybody claiming to be the Mahdi today, he ain't no Mahdi. Because ain't no justice in the world right now. The oppression is getting worse. The injustice is getting worse. People going around killing and destroying, claiming they doing it in the name of Allah. These people are not good people. Those are terrorists. The Mahdi is going to bring justice. He's going to end the war. He's not going to begin it. Okay? Also another hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a man from my family whose name is like mine, he will take power. The Mahdi will be one of my descendants. He will have a high forehead and he will have a hooked nose and he will fill the earth with justice and fairness and he will rule for 7 years. There it is. Hello. So again, he gave us a description. He'll be one of my offspring. He will have a high forehead, a hooked nose. He will be a kind, good person. He will bring about justice. And he will rule for 7 years. And by the way, guys, who will replace him? It'll be Jesus. Okay? And also the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the Mahdi will be from the children of Fatima. He will come from the family of Fatima and Ali. Also in another hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, people will begin to differ after the death of the Caliphate. And that's already happened. We don't have a Caliph anymore. Those 12 rulers have ruled over her. And what happened? People are differing. We've divided. We've separated. We're fighting each other and everything else. The Prophet goes on to say, a man from the people of Medina will run to Mecca. Some of the people of Mecca will come to him and drag him out against his will, and they will swear allegiance to him. An army will be sent against him from Syria. Again, all the problems come from Syria. And it will be swallowed up in the desert, which means an earthquake will overtake them. When the people see this, groups of people from Syria and Iraq will come and swear allegiance to this man. Then a man from the Quraysh will appear and send an army against them and will defeat them. And this will be known as the Battle of Qab. Whoever does not witness the spoils of this battle will miss much. The Mahdee will distribute the money and will rule the people according to the Sunnah of the Prophet. And then he will die, and the Muslims will pray for him, and then Jesus will come about. So here the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was speaking about what some of the events that will come to be when the Mahdi emerges. Again, all the fitna that the world experiences will come from Syria and Iraq. So what does that tell you? What's going on in Syria is not going to get better, guys. The war in Syria is only going to get worse. It's going to spread outside of Syria to the whole world, to be honest. There's going to be a World War III. And all of the fitna is coming from Syria and Iraq. Like you see. So you can see what's happening today is through the qadr of Allah. There's nothing you can do to stop what's going on in Syria and Iraq. It's going to get worse. This is just the beginning. Recognize the signs of Allah. Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam spoke about how before the Mahdi comes, a man named Al-Harith ibn Hurayth will come from Toxania. His army will be led by a man named Mansur, and he will pave the way and establish the government for the family of Muhammad, just as the Quraysh did. So right before the Mahdi comes, there will be a man in his army from Transoxania. They will be trying to come out and bring about goodness, trying to end the struggle that's going on, the fitna coming from out of Syria and Iraq in that direction. So right before the Mahdi comes, there will be a group of people trying to establish good, trying to bring peace to the world right before the Mahdi. Okay? And again, you don't have to go around looking for the Mahdi. You got a bunch of ignorant Muslims today claiming that they're looking for him. Astaghfirullah. When Allah has decreed for him to come, the Prophet said he will appear from the east, and the people will swear allegiance to him at the Kaaba. At the Kaaba. So what will happen? When the Mahdi comes, he will announce who he is to the world. You ain't got to look for him. He will be in Mecca. He will be at the Kaaba, and he will announce to the whole world, I am the Mahdi, sent by Allah to bring peace to the world. So you don't have to look for him. He will find us, and he will announce who he is. Also in another hadith, one of the companions said, by Allah, every ruler we have had has been worse than the previous one. And every year has been worse than the year before. But I heard the Prophet say, among your rulers will be one who will give out money freely without counting it. A man will come and ask him for money, and he will say, take it. And the man will open his cloak, and the ruler will pour money into it. then the man will take it and leave again. So, this is already happening. The caliphate, after the prophet's death, who took over? Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr was the best ruler over the Muslims after the prophet. Then after him was Umar. After him was Uthman. After him was Ali, and everything went downhill after that. After Ali, this is why we don't even teach anything further than that. I don't want to hear about the Umayyad and all that stuff. We don't care. After Ali, that's it. Everything went downhill after that. Every ruler became worse and worse and worse and worse and worse till we are at the point where we are now. Okay? This has already happened. We have no ruler now, no leader now. But the Mahdi will come and change all that. He will bring about goodness. He will bring about peace and prosperity. So again, this is why I say, when you hear Muslims in the mosque or Muslims on Facebook talking about establishing a caliphate, establishing an Islamic state and all this nonsense, you need to run away from these people. You do what the prophet said. Stay away from them. Stay clear of them. Because these people are ignorant. They know nothing of the deen. Allah has already told us what's going to come to pass. He's given us the signs to look for. The signs are there. He told us what to do when we see these things. Allah doesn't need you or me to establish His religion. We need Him. So thus, guys, I'm going to stop right here for today. Tomorrow what I'm going to do is go into more detail about the Mahdi. What's going to happen when he comes? What is he going to do? How will he establish peace? How will he establish prosperity? What will the other people in the world do? What will the other countries do? How will they look upon him? Will they be an enemy to him or an aid to him? We're going to talk about all that tomorrow. So we'll stop right here for today. Again, I want you guys to stay tuned into this stuff. I hope you guys are understanding that every hadith I'm giving you is authentic. These other hadiths that you're hearing from these crazy people about the Mahdi, they're not authentic. If they're contradicting what I'm teaching you here, they're not authentic. So we'll stop right here. If you have any questions or comments,